So I YouTube searched you, and the first thing that comes up under your name is
Oh no.
like
I know
Chelsea
what it is.
King found, body found. And it was like,
Oh my gosh.
and it was like murder after murder.
Are you okay?
For like 2 seconds, I had a Wikipedia page, and I linked it in my Spotify for artists, and then, like, I don't know when it changed, but the Wikipedia page changed to being a Wikipedia page straight to the serial killer. So I'm not kidding. So
That's incredible.
So I was like talking. Oh, I was talking to this producer who we were thinking about working with, and he was like, "Yeah, like I think it's pretty cool that you like linked a serial killer to your profile." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I went and checked, and I was like, "I need to take this off. Like this is terrible."
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then I go to listen to you. I see on your Instagram you're on a podcast, like just dropped, I think. And
Yes.
so I went and I started listening to that. And very quickly you talk about how you had a past life where you were murdered.
Oh my god, I didn't even. Oh my god, that just gave me the chills.
Really?
I didn't even
You
realize
didn't, like,
that
put that
overlap.
together? Oh,
That is
man.
so weird.
Yeah. So
How do we even unpack that?
Okay,
I don't know either.
Well, when was that Chelsea King killed? Was it
We
can
like
find
before
out.
you were born?
I think I was alive.
Okay.
I'm gonna
yeah,
Google
So
it.
you can't be her.
No, I'm not her.
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Because I
and
was thinking
and I
of
also-
starting the show going like, so are you a ghost? Are you trying to trick the whole world? Then I'm listening to this
Yes.
podcast and you mentioned that you had like memories of, you'll have to tell us, but like you had memories of past life that you were murdered and you
Yeah.
like know who the murderer is.
Yeah.
And so now my mind's blown. I need to know about this.
Okay. Well, get ready because
Yeah.
after this, you guys are gonna wonder why you interviewed me. Like, who is this?
No, I'm
crazy
already
This is the
person?
best
psyched.
shit. This is what we're here
This is
for.
the best thing ever.
I-
By the way, she was found 14 years ago. So you
Okay.
were alive.
I was alive.
It's
yeah.
not you.
No, I am older than 14. But yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, this story's pretty crazy, and like you're more than welcome to call me crazy. And think I'm crazy, and I'm fine with that because I'm aware of how insane this sounds. Thankfully, but yeah, I I have a therapist. I love my therapist, and while I've been doing some like healing work with her, I started getting these memories that didn't really make a lot of sense to me, and I was just telling her about them, and long story short, I started looking in the mirror and seeing my eyes, but like a girl with red hair, and at that point I was like fully convinced I had like a personality disorder, like something was wrong with me, like I was having a mental breakdown, and my therapist reassured me like, no, like
You're not breaking
I've been
down.
seeing you for 6 years now, like you are,
You don't have multiple
you're not normal,
personalities.
but you're sane. And then she told me that she did past life regressions, which is so wild to me. I never even really thought about that concept. And so we did a past life regression. And basically she hypnotized me and walked me through my entire past life, which was causing a lot of problems for me in my current life that I didn't even realize. Like, it's like, everybody has childhood trauma. That's kind of just
Yep.
like the way it goes.
Just being a human.
And I think everybody
Yeah.
has past life trauma too that we don't realize. Maybe not everybody, because hopefully you will have like finished out your cycle in your past lives and like completed that cycle of karma. But if you're murdered, you kind of carry it into this life. So I think like a lot of just like the heaviness I felt as a child and a lot of my trauma was from that life, and I didn't realize just how, I don't know, how much lighter I feel after walking through that process.
So how clear of memories are these? Like, are they like, is it kind of like a faint, like a memory of a memory that like you can't really hold on to?
Yeah.
Or like, do you have like details and
Um,
things?
So at first it was foggy.
Mm-hmm.
After we did the past life regression, it's like it was this lifetime. Like
Really?
I see all the places in my head. I see the house I grew up in. I see the meadow river place where me and my current partner used to like meet up all the time when we were kids. We grew up together. Like I know my whole life story. And I know all of the people that were in that life with me. I know who they are in this life. It's pretty crazy.
That's
it
wild.
actually sounds insane. Yeah, but
It does, but you don't seem insane.
I
You
think
seem
I'm
sane.
not.
I don't think you are.
I don't think so.
Like you said, you're aware of it.
Yeah.
Like you're aware that this sounds crazy, and I think that's the key.
Yes.
It's when people aren't aware that they're crazy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, something's sounding crazy, but you're like, I know this sounds crazy. I think that's sane.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're good.
So you had mentioned you know who the murderer is,
Yeah.
and you know who they are in this life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you like know them now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not in communication with them.
It's probably good.
Yeah, quality choice.
But I don't, as much as I hate them, like actually genuinely hate them for what they put me through in this life, I do think that, we both came back here. Everyone came in that life came back here to kind of complete that cycle of karma. And I think me and my murderer from my past life were meant to meet in this life so that we could not like put it behind us, but like heal and like so that they don't have any karma and I don't have any karma. That's not really how it went. I think they're going to have to live a bunch more lifetimes to pay off what they did to me, but I think I'm done and I never have to see them in any other lifetimes, thank God.
Okay. Have you looked up like your past life self? Like, have you found information about them online or anything? Like, I don't know how long ago it was.
Do you know how long
yeah,
ago
do you know
it was?
how long ago it was?
I was born in 1626.
Oh,
Stop.
so a while. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna find anything. 'Cause
No.
that's way too long. Yeah, for like a just some person
No,
to have any
but
information.
I remember everything that happened and like it aligns with like history of Ireland because I was living in Ireland.
Okay.
And the craziest part too was in the past life regression. I was talking in an Irish accent, which
Oh.
is so wild.
Yeah.
That's what my therapist told me after. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh, like you in now when
Yeah.
you were in the session, you were like,
I was.
"Hey, it's coming towards me."
That was great. That might have been better than mine. I can't do an Irish accent now, but yeah. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I can walk you through the life if you want.
So much. I don't think there's
Yep.
anything I want more. I love this so
Yes,
much.
100%.
Incredible.
I wasn't like going to tell anyone about this, and I was just going to write it into a book. And
If you don't want to tell us, that's fine.
No, I'm so down. Like
Okay, cool.
it feels right, But I'm writing it into a book, and I'm writing an album based off the book. And I was just gonna say, oh, it's just a little story I made up, but like it feels right, The time
Yeah.
we're here now. So basically, I was having a lot of like sensitivity in my back in this current life, and like if anyone touched my back, I would like freak out and like have a trauma response. And so we started the past life regression when I was eight years old living in Ireland. I was really living in this I was very poor. I grew up in a very poor family. I basically just had a mom, and she was very abusive, and she used to hit me with a wooden spoon. And
My grandma did that.
really? Right in my back. I'm so
Oof.
sorry that you got hit with
I mean, I
a
got
wooden
regular
spoon.
on the butt spanking, not
Yeah.
the back. That sounds like it would hurt significantly more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where the back pain came from in this lifetime. After that regression, the back pain is just gone magically. Like I don't have
Wow.
any sort of like trauma response when my back is touched anymore. So crazy. And the whole regression, I was just like sobbing too. Like you could tell I was really processing whatever. So yeah, that was like the first thing. And then I used to go and sneak out of my house and meet up with Dawson, my current partner, at this little river. And we were best friends, and we grew up together. I got to know his family really well, but they were English, and we were Irish, and my mom really hated his family because this was during the time when I think, and I might be wrong, but England was settling in Ireland and like trying to take the land over. And then something went down. I'm not sure what really happened, but it was almost like this like uprising of Irish people like fighting back against the English people. And Dawson was hung and killed when he was like 16. And I spent the rest of my life just like really missing him, because eventually when we were like in our teen years, we kind of like fell in love. And then he died, and I had to marry this man who I really didn't like very much, but my mom wanted me to marry him. And then he kind of resented me, was a terrible alcoholic, and ultimately ended up wanting to be with someone else, and he murdered me. And in the regression, my therapist basically walked me through like holding myself in my past life while she was dying, and that really was very healing.
Do you know how he murdered you?
Yeah, he stabbed me with a knife.
That bastard.
I know. And the craziest part is that like my first album that I wrote was like about getting murdered.
Is before you knew about
Yes,
that? Yeah.
way long
Okay.
before. And coming back as a ghost to haunt them. And in one of the songs that I wrote about him in this life, I talk about how he held the knife, you know, and I didn't even realize, like, this was before the past life thing. So there's so many like weird synchronicities. It's really weird.
That's so wild.
That is incredibly
It was
wild.
pretty weird. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I
It's
love
like
it. That's
Shroom's
incredible.
trip to the max.
Okay, there's a lot more to say about this, but I feel like we should leave people on a cliffhanger and come back
Yeah.
after
Like a
letting
good
you
song.
play a song.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So what's
So
the
what-
first song we're gonna be hearing?
I think, why don't we do Digital Dreamscape?
I sit on the couch and talk about your mom and how she's doing now. I gave you what you wanted. Maybe you've forgotten. It's not enough to say you care. You act like you were unaware. I was falling to the bottom. Turn your head, she's lost it. I'm not breathing. Oh. It's an echo chamber of your thoughts. I'm trapped inside these city walls. Streetlights burning, buildings fall. I'm watching history unfold. Stop the car, let me out. I'm on fire. I finally found myself. Break the news. This just in. Now we can't go back again. I never wanna fall. You're a lot like how you used to be, but somehow it's all new to me. You say I was the reason your lungs kept you breathing. All your nightmares and instability, lack of accountability. You say you miss the feeling in my body while I'm sleeping. Honey, you're still dreaming. Oh. When you put me on a pedestal, perhaps you wanted me to
So here's where we're at. You were murdered in a previous life, and all these things have come to. So, have you heard of this movie called? I think it's called One Night in Soho.
No.
Okay, you need to watch it, or it's maybe A Night in Soho. Let me see. I pulled it up here. Last Night in Soho came out in 2021.
Okay, I gotta watch it.
Okay, it's a very similar story.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's and she's like modern day,
And no spoilers now.
and she had a past life in the 60s where she looks a little different, has different hair,
Same eyes.
and she looks like more or less the same person, but kind of
well, assumedly it's the same
slightly
actress.
different version.
Is the same actress?
Actually, it is a different actress.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's slightly different in the past, and there's a murder, and anyway, she has to solve the whole thing and like fix it in this life.
Whoa.
So
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, 400 or 500 years ago, like if it was like 30 years ago, you'd be like,
Yeah.
I could solve my own murder. That would,
Yeah.
that would be incredible.
now it's probably not very good records.
Right. Yeah. There's no records from like the 1600s Ireland. Like, yeah. There's no.
No.
And even if the police believe you, they'd be like, okay, but it was 400 years ago. Like, you
They're
have to
all
let
dead.
it
Like,
go,
let it go.
man.
It's been 400 years.
Move on. Oh man.
It's hard to move on from your own murder.
But in this life, you do music.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that really stuck out to me, so I literally found you like Instagram Reels, and like just a reel came up, and I was like, oh, cool, like kids doing rock music again, which is like a new thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, great, this is cool. And then I looked at some of your stuff, and you had
I've never heard you sound so old.
yeah.
Kids doing the rock and roll.
I don't feel like you guys are that much older than me.
We're 103.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Maybe. I mean, in past
yeah,
life
you don't know
years,
how many
Right.
lives we've had.
Maybe you're 3,000.
You never know.
I do
But
feel
what
pretty old.
But kids haven't been doing rock music for a minute.
True.
Yeah. So it's good to see it back. Anyway, so I thought it was cool. And then I saw that you won the 2022 John Lennon Award.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I have him tattooed on my arm.
Abbey Road.
And so anyway, tell me about that. How does that work? I've seen the John Lennon Foundation, like I've
They're
seen their
great.
emblem around. I've seen them at different music events. And I know that there is a John Lennon Award, but I'm like, that's such a cool honor to win. How does that work? Do you just send in your music? Do they scout you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really awesome program. I think, like, the fact that they're just supporting musicians and artists, like independent or signed or whatever, just good music is so great because, recording music is expensive, as we all know. And it doesn't make money like it used to because people essentially rent music now. Nobody pays for music.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you bought an album?
Right.
Unless it was like from someone you knew.
Right. It's so wild.
Right.
Which, yeah, that's why I'll get into it later, but I just pressed my album on vinyl because for that reason. But yeah, so I was like trying to think about ways to like, how can I make money off of my music? And I just started looking into like different like awards that you can win that will give you money. And I didn't win the money portion of that, but the whole process was just so, it was even better than I could have imagined because I turned my song in and then they sent me all this gear. They sent me an Apollo twin. They sent me Genelec monitors, 2 guitars, a bunch of plugins, some SSL plugins. Like they sent me more than enough to like take my music to like the next step.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. When is that for like winning?
Yeah.
And so you won in the rock category, right?
Yeah.
So how does it work? Do you just send a song in and then do you just like get an email like, hey,
Yeah.
you won?
Literally.
Oh, wow.
And there's no like in between step or anything?
There was like a couple like layers to it where they were like, oh, you moved to this level. And then they were
cool.
like, oh, you moved to this level.
And how do you move to those levels? Is like, are people voting on that? And who are these people?
Right,
Do you
it's like
know?
a panel or
Yeah. Is
something.
it like
I think
John Lennon's kids or
I don't know. I think it's like some musical people.
yeah. Yeah.
Higher
Like
up.
industry folks of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were looking for ways to make money with your music, and that's how you started.
Yeah.
Which that's super interesting because I mean, you hear about that all the time. People trying to make money with their music and they try all these different things, but I've never heard someone go, "How can I win money with my music?" Like, how did you get down that road? Like, what brought you there?
I think honestly, the fact that I got a scholarship for music for college, and actually the John Lennon Foundation gave me a scholarship when I was to go to college. It was small, but it was still something, you know?
Yeah.
And so because of the idea of scholarships, I was like, maybe I should look into like more like competitions, like songwriting competitions. And that's kind of what led me there.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't have a follow-up to that. I was just curious. I was just
You're
curious.
like a
I've never heard
politician
that
right
before.
now. I have no follow-ups.
Yeah.
I rest my case. No, but that's super cool.
Yeah.
And like, what an honor, because are you a Beatles fan at all?
Yeah. How could you not be?
Yeah. Some
They're
people are dead
legends.
inside.
You've got ears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always so it's crazy to me when people like hate on the Beatles. Because it's like, and it's always like guitar players specifically, and I'm and I'm like, why are you trying to be like pretentious? Like, it's not cool to hate the Beatles.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, yeah.
Maybe
okay.
it should be though. I don't know.
And maybe. It's always like people who like play
Shred.
guitar. Their favorite band is Radiohead. They
I already know who this person is. Like I
drive their mom's old car. Don't have a bed frame. And to be quite honest, I just described myself. But I do love the Beatles. And yes, my favorite band is Radiohead, and I just got a bed frame. We're
Nice.
leveling
Moving
up.
on up.
Yeah.
My boyfriend got a bed frame, and I moved in with him. So technically, I never got a bed frame. And I did drive my mom's old car for a while. So
Now, do you have a what do you call that? The thing under the mattress?
Box
Oh, a
spring.
box spring?
Yeah.
That's going a little too far.
I don't think I did.
It's the next move. That's the next move.
My piano was my headboard. I was like
That's actually kind of cool.
yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought I was really cool. It's
Yeah,
better
like,
to have a bed frame. It's more
you-
comfortable.
if you toss and turn in your sleep, you're like playing the piano with
Yeah,
your
it's
head.
scary when you wake yourself up like,
Just
with like a key.
The lightning storm that happened a few days ago, by the way,
Yeah.
I went home to take a 15-minute nap and woke up 7 hours later.
Nice.
from thunder at 1:30 in the morning, and this thunder was so loud it was like lasted like 45 seconds. I don't know, depending on you're in East Nashville too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm over on like Douglas,
Yeah.
and so I know like
so
you
am I.
wouldn't hear it at your house. You are.
Well,
So there
yeah.
was this lightning strike at 1:30 in the morning that was so loud like it shook the whole house. It lasted like
Wow.
probably 45 seconds, the thunder, and it was a crazy way to wake up.
Yeah.
My buddy who lives right down the street, he said that like he woke up at that same time and he thought a nucular bomb had gone off. He looked out the window
That's
to see if
quite
there
a
was a
jump in
mushroom
logic.
cloud. He was like, maybe we were
Honestly?
bombed.
I had that same thought the other night when I woke up to lightning. I don't know if it was the same lightning storm, but I was like, I genuinely like woke Dawson up and I was like, do we need to go get our box? Because we have this little doom box that I made him make because
Really?
Yeah.
because I fucking became a crazy conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist.
You should have that.
Dude.
You should have that, Ryan. We have a go bag.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no go bag.
You need a go bag.
I don't know. Like all of these movies started coming out about like the end of America, you know, like they have the Civil War coming out, and then there was that one that the Obamas made,
Yep.
and then like there's like a random eclipse that happens in the middle of that movie that has no tie-in with the movie, and then like there's one line where the guy was like, sometimes the best thing that like the elite people can do is just give you a warning. About the end of the world. And then I was
Which
like,
movie was that?
the one that the Obamas made.
Oh,
And so
dang.
I was like, that's a weird line coming from like a movie the Obamas produced or
Yeah.
directed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, maybe we, and my sister got really into conspiracy theories. And so then I was like, maybe I should just like get a couple maps of how to get to Texas and we can get some like food stored away. I feel like a squirrel. It's crazy.
And I was driving in that storm at that time.
At 1:30?
It's about when I got home.
Wow. That's
I-
late.
Yeah, I had just played poker for 10 hours straight, and the game had ended, and I was like, oh, it's I heard a storm was coming. It looks fine. And
Do
I
you
just started
play poker?
Not regularly. I just got invited to a game. You know, I like poker. It's fun.
My boyfriend Dawson says there's 3 trajectories men take after graduating high school, and one is golf, one is poker, and I can't remember. Oh,
Video
and one
games?
is alcoholism.
But when the 3 come together in one person.
I mean, that's a superhuman at that point.
Jerry, did you grow up playing golf?
I did. I grew up playing golf.
And you played poker?
I used to play golf like 6 days a week. I used to play a shit ton of poker.
And you're drinking right now. So
You
Here
you
it
are the
goes.
trifecta.
You're like Superman.
Yeah. In his past life, he was Superman.
Oh,
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm too old to drink a lot now. It makes me tired, so
yeah.
I can't
feel
achieve the alcoholism. Maybe one day.
that.
Maybe if I work hard enough.
Well, you got the golfing and the poker.
That's true. 2 out of 3 ain't
Yeah.
bad.
So
Yeah.
I definitely feel like there's a lot of end of the world vibes going around.
Yeah.
The show Fallout came out recently, and that's
Dude.
all
So
about
good.
post-nuclear war.
Based off the video game.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was a super
Yeah.
good show.
I
Incredible.
loved that show.
Yeah, so good.
Wait,
And
did you play the game?
Oh, no, I just wanted to sound
Oh,
cool.
okay.
That
it worked. Just kidding.
That I knew it was the video game. I know people that play the video game.
That counts.
I wish I was cool enough to be into video games. I do think it's kind of funny that like there's not a lot of girls. I mean, I do know some girls that are into video games, but I just think it's kind of funny. Like, what is it inside of men's heads that makes them so into video games? Is it like the need to like build things? And,
Well,
like,
it was
they can't?
actually a choice. It was a specific marketing choice by video game companies in the early
Really?
90s. Because originally they made games for both men and women that appealed generally to those.
Wow.
And then it was literally a decision that was, I forget who it was. I want to say it was Nintendo, but I could be wrong. That they were like, okay, we need to focus the market.
Wow.
And that was who was currently buying a little bit more. And so they're like, all focus here.
Crazy.
Really?
Yep. And but
Was
before that-
Minecraft like targeted only at men? Because I love
Oh, this was
that.
way before Minecraft. I mean, this is like early 90s. Minecraft came out in what, like 2008?
So
Best game ever.
is this why women are doing so much better in college and on all like social metrics?
Not just social metrics, pretty much all metrics. the one single metric that women lose in is upper body strength. Literally every other thing, y'all got it.
I have no upper body
And is
strength.
this all because Nintendo decided to make
Those
every
sons of
guy
bitches.
addicted to
Okay,
video games?
It might not be Nintendo. Please don't sue me, Nintendo. They're real sue happy. But
You guys should get a Nintendo sponsorship.
Yeah,
I
at
would
this
love
point.
that. I'd be all
Seriously,
in.
we've talked about it for a minute now.
Seriously, look at all that free advertising, Nintendo. You should
Yeah,
start paying us.
Nintendo. Sponsor them.
Oh wait, we have the sound effect for this.
We do? Yeah, now we're definitely getting sued.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, but you
But
mentioned
then,
you were.
wait,
oh,
we're still on the end of the world here.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
wrong.
Fallout, and
Yeah.
then recently, there's this podcast I listened to called Diary of a CEO. Super good. He just had on a girl who's like nuclear war expert. She's basically a journalist who interviewed a lot of people about nuclear war, and she wrote a book that details how it would all happen, like a theoretical way it would all go down. And it's like basically in 72 minutes, like everything's destroyed, like most of the world, because, essentially, if you get an attack, you only have like, if a nuclear warhead was coming to the U.S., you would have like 20-minute warning.
Wow.
So then the
Which is
president,
not enough time.
the president is immediately given plans of action. There's some guy who follows around the president at all times with a little briefcase that if nuclear war were to break out, they open it up and inside is a little playbook. And they have simplified it to like, here are your several plays you could make in this scenario. And they have to make a decision. And so what would theoretically happen is like, Russia's sending warheads, so we have to retaliate. So they call a strike, and then other countries get involved. And basically, and depending on what country thinks, sometimes you can know where it's coming from. Like if it's shot from mainland Russia, you obviously are like, it's coming from Russia. But also it could come from a war, like a submarine. And if it comes from a submarine, then you have no idea where it's coming from. Actually, countries get confused, join in the action, and essentially like it's a very likely scenario that like most of the world would be destroyed within, and it happens very quickly because you're like, we have to act now, and it's like in 72 minutes most of the world's destroyed. And the place they said best to be, Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Isolated, middle of the ocean.
No one's trying to nuke Australia.
Yeah, everyone's
I
kind of
mean,
cool with them.
To be quite honest, I think the best place to be would be like right where they drop the bomb.
Yeah,
Because,
seriously,
like,
just
I would
just wrap it
rather
up.
Just
Be
go.
out.
I don't want to have to deal with like post-apocalyptic America. Like, we'll probably have a past life. You know, we'll go somewhere else. I'll wake up in another world.
Yeah,
Who
that'd be
knows?
fine,
Maybe
yeah.
there's alien planets and we have past lives in alien planets.
Maybe you don't remember those ones because you don't know frame of reference.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you have a
seriously.
gap between 1600 and now.
Well, maybe they're like 8-dimensional beings and we're only in 3D.
Mm,
Our brain can't comprehend.
no.
Possible. So Corinne just interrupted. So tonight, usually we have Wesley here and he helps fact check things for us. But Wesley's sick, so we have Corinne, Jury's wife, filling in. And she just texted us, Nintendo placed their games in the boys sections of toy stores and partnered with Mattel, who had experience marketing to boys.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off with Nintendo, but Mattel was probably the big
Dude,
push.
that sucks.
Yeah.
I would love to be like into video games and stuff. Why didn't they
You know,
target
you could
me?
be.
It's because I was born in the 90s, and so I was like the peak suspect for their targeting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They got me with like the Bratz dolls.
But, now your whole life isn't just video games. So
It was Minecraft for a while. Genuinely, like it was.
I've never touched it. What's the appeal?
Dude, you can build
It's a
so
sandbox,
much.
yeah.
You build it's the best game ever, and you can just like shut your mind off and just build and build and build, and then you can have multiplayer servers and build with your friends. And like honestly, my roommates and I used to smoke weed, play Minecraft on our multiplayer server, and watch SpongeBob. That's like all we would do. It was a great time.
That's the
Then I had
life.
to stop smoking weed because it got to be too much for me. But
When
we
you
had-
started getting to conspiracies.
yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned you got into them. Was that recent? Is it like during COVID? I feel like everyone got into
Yes.
conspiracy during COVID.
Dude, I do think everyone got into it during COVID. I got really into it, and then like somehow, you remember that documentary, The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
They found one of my TikToks that had like 3 views and put it in their documentary.
What?
What?
And made me look insane.
Wait,
What?
So
You're
I
in
had
the
to-
social dilemma?
I had to cut my hair. They kept my Instagram handle in it. So I had like people messaging me, kill yourself. You suck. You're terrible. Like I got like millions of messages
my
from
gosh.
people. And
Okay,
I was,
start at the beginning.
Yeah,
Wait,
hold
you're
on.
sick.
Yeah, I
Wait.
need a little more
background.
of a
I swore-
What did you post? You were just a normal girl going about your life, and you posted what?
I was just being, I was just a normal girl in the world. And I was posting about my conspiracy theories and my
You were like smoking weed, watching SpongeBob,
Yeah.
and then you wrote.
exactly. I was having a good ass time. I'm not like I would never claim to be like a scientist. I'm a musician. My political ideas don't matter. Like, come on. I make music in my free time and play Minecraft. Like, so, okay, what I said in the video was, I think it was along the lines of, I think that COVID was started in a lab in China because the epicenter was 500 feet away from where this one lab is that they were testing things on bats. This was before that theory
Was like straight up proven.
Yeah, that's
Basically.
literally like just
Everybody
common
thinks,
knowledge now.
Now everyone
Yeah.
thinks that's true.
Yeah.
But this was like long before that. Like I think I was the first person to ever say anything about it.
You
I
broke this story
discovered it.
wide open.
Maybe I should be a politician, honestly.
Honestly, right there, that's more credibility than most of them.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you have a good track record, 1 for 1.
I am 1 for 1. And they all called me crazy. But they... I love
Called
it.
me crazy.
But,
So you posted that like in a video talking or just text
Yes.
or
my
okay.
face. I was wearing my brother's USC hoodie, so I think they were trying to. They were like, "Look at this educated girl." I did not go to USC. I just had my brother's hoodie on. And they put it in the Social Dilemma in their little section of like why conspiracy theories are bad, and kept my handle. I got so many haters, and I made a TikTok post about what had happened to me, and it like went crazy viral, was doing dummy numbers, and then they blurred my handle, which means I think they saw my TikTok.
So okay, so did you have no idea it was going to be in it?
No one said anything.
Did
to me.
you? So did you just start getting messages, or did you watch it and see like, oh my god?
Dude, my professor texted me and said, "Hey, I saw you in The Social Dilemma." And I was like, "What?" And so I just ignored it. And then I got like 5 more texts from like random people throughout my life that were like, "Hey, I saw you in The Social Dilemma." I was like, "What the fuck is everyone talking about?" So I went and watched it, and I was like, what do I do? Do I need a lawyer up? Like, what I'm going to try and get money if I can. But then in TikTok's TNCs, because it was a TikTok post. I keep saying Instagram, but it was a TikTok post that I made.
Okay.
In their TNCs, they can they own your likeness and they own everything you post.
Right. Yeah. That's a very sketchy company. Not that
It
other companies
really
aren't,
is,
but they're
but
the worst.
It really is. So crazy times.
That
Wow.
is so wild.
So they post you, or put you in the movie, and now you're saying they
and don't even
blurred.
tell you, which is just rude.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty rude.
And so they didn't blur the handle, and then after your TikTok video, they went back and blurred it.
Yeah.
So if we go to Netflix right now and watch it, and we
It's blurred.
can't right now, but if we did, you're still in The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
but it's
but
blurred
it's,
now.
Now it's blurred.
Yeah.
So they can go back and replace videos.
Yeah, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that they did that.
Which we didn't. Yeah, nobody
Who knew?
I don't think we've thought about that. Like that they
Right.
can go make edits.
Like, yeah, who's going up? They're like
But of course
releasing
they
new
can.
patch notes for this
Okay.
movie. Like,
It puts a whole new perspective on like entertainment. Like what can they
right.
change?
right.
know?
Like, okay, you know about the Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I
you know
love the
how they.
Mandela effect. We're
the-
about to go deep.
The
aren't we?
number
CERN?
one. What's that?
You know about CERN and the Mandela effect?
CERN?
CERN?
Yeah.
No.
What's CERN?
It's a crazy conspiracy theory.
In the science place in Switzerland?
Yeah.
No.
Switzerland. Not Sweden. Switzerland.
I mix them up.
Yeah,
So it could
same.
be Sweden, but
Yeah.
I think it's Switzerland.
One of the two.
Yeah.
One of the ones where they talk like this and
Yeah.
they're blonde.
It's where they make all the massive scientific discoveries for the entire world.
Oh.
Yes, they do. And they're doing great things. And my brother is like an astrophysicist and he's really into CERN and he loves it. And then my sister is a diehard conspiracy theorist and she's really against CERN and thinks that they're creating Mandela effects. And that's how.
Creating Mandela effects.
Yes, she is 17, so
sh-
she's allowed to
So
be.
she thinks we're blurring the lines between the variety of dimensions that we've created.
Yes. Yes.
But what's wild is like this with your social dilemma thing, like you can say like they put me in, they doxed me and all of this, and then they changed it. So now if you go back, it'd be like, no, that girl's a liar. Like her name isn't even on there. Look, it's
Yeah.
blurred out. Of course they blurred it out.
Yeah.
But that's just because they changed the video.
Man, I feel like you could have sued the shit out of them for that.
For
Getting doxxed and getting death threats from it.
I was gonna try and go the defamation route.
Yeah.
I had a great lawyer, but he said that it was just a losing
Right, because
battle.
they're going to have $1 million lawyers and many
Yeah.
of them. And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Wild. Okay, so my favorite, not my favorite Mandela effect, but maybe the one that I most am like, come on,
Yeah.
is the Kazam movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
This
this.
might be,
Or
this might be
Shazam.
a little bit before your time. I mean, we're only a few years older than you, but
So there's a Mandela
Shazam.
effect, Shazam, that there was a genie movie called Shazam starring Sinbad.
do you know who that is?
He
He was big a
comedian
while ago.
big time in the 90s, yeah, and then like disappeared.
Okay.
Suspicious.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still alive. Like, he has, like, social media and shit.
But what do you
Like,
see
we still
him
know
in?
he's around.
He was like in all these movies. He was in a movie called we all remember from the 90s. There was a movie. No, I didn't see it, but it's
I
about
saw-
a genie.
I saw this movie.
You saw
I
it?
saw this movie several times.
There's
I remember
a genie.
it.
There's a genie played by Sinbad.
Yeah, a
The
couple of
movie's
kids
called
find the lamp.
Shazam. Yeah. Oh yeah, kids
Yeah.
find the lamp. Of course they do.
It's a kids'
in,
movie.
Like an addict, right?
Yes, in an attic.
Of course.
Oh, actually, no, in a basement.
Hmm.
To be clear.
But according to 2024, this never happened.
This movie never existed.
There was never this movie.
What? But
Yeah.
like all of like the
We all
millennials,
remember.
you guys
The
are
millennials
millennials.
so
remember it.
many
You guys all
people
remember it.
this
Yeah.
movie.
What?
People ask Sinbad about it all the time. But then there was a movie
Is he like-
called Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal
Yeah.
as a genie.
What?
But the one with Sinbad called Kazam
Crap.
apparently never existed.
What if it existed and they
You know
just
what's
deleted
bad?
it?
He says he was never in it.
Has he been interviewed? You guys should have him on this
Oh,
podcast.
so many
Yeah,
people
I've seen
have. Like, he's been
What?
asked this question for 20 years. Like,
That is so
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
and one time I thought I found it because I found a clip from the
Yeah.
movie. And it ended up, it was somebody making a fake clip of the original one.
No,
But people have like redrawn the covers and been like, this is what it looked like exactly. Like, and people are like, yes, I remember that. I watched this movie. Yeah, that's my favorite one too. I love that one.
I mean, it's CERN, man. Ask my sister. She'd
They're
say it
making
was CERN.
The Fruit of the Loom one really throws me for
Me
a loop too.
That
The
one
Fruit of the
gets
Loom
me.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know that cornucopia is in that logo.
Yes.
yeah, of course it is.
No, that never existed, Ryan. There was no cornucopia in the logo. Never was.
What was it?
Just like some fruit and shit. It's a fruit
But
loom. with
where's the loom?
Where is the loom?
Oh, man.
Wow.
I feel like we're
So
just
what
going
is-
deeper.
Yeah. So what is CERN doing? How is CERN involved?
I wish I was more up to speed on this. I guess people say that they opened a portal somehow where they were channeling some fifth dimensional entity, and the shit that they're doing there somehow has collapsed all of the parallel timelines together, so there's only one timeline now.
Well, that's not good.
That's a plot for a good movie.
Yeah.
It is.
You know, I wouldn't even be surprised.
That's like the Stranger Things plot,
I mean,
low key.
Mhm.
Isn't
It does feel like
CERN?
Stranger Things.
Weren't they the ones who first split the atom?
Probably.
In fact, did you see Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Do you remember early on in the movie? He's like, some people at blah 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 just split the atom.
In
He's like, that's
Switzerland.
impossible. I think that was CERN.
I bet you're
I'm
right.
not 100% sure. Can you Google that, Corinne? But I think
I
that
wish
was
we
CERN.
could have my little brother here. He's so smart.
Did splitting the atom cause the collapse of the timelines and erase
You know?
Shazam?
You
It
could be
coulda.
onto something.
It coulda.
Maybe that's some shit that we probably shouldn't be doing anyways. Why
Did
do
you
we need
know-
to split atoms to
Did
make
you know that
bombs?
hundreds of nuclear bombs have been
Lost.
exploded on U.S. soil
Oh yeah.
Yes.
out in the Nevada test site?
Oh yeah.
Which is so messed up.
This is crazy. There's like a part of the desert that none of us can see or access that's just like nuked to hell.
Yeah, that
But
Area
isn't it
51.
like sacred Native American land?
I
I don't
mean,
know about that
isn't
part.
this entire country?
Honestly, yeah. That's so true.
I'm pretty sure we stopped worrying about that a long time ago.
Dude.
So was it the splitting of the atoms or was it the ghosts of the sacred Native American burial site?
Low key.
Which one's erasing Shazam? I want to know.
I want you
Just
to
want it
back.
back. Give it back.
Now you mentioned this briefly earlier, but I did see this on your Instagram. And I totally forgot about it. But you do a radio show? ?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Alternative
Alternative hour.
hour.
Yeah, 96.7. We just basically play. Well, me. I basically play just my favorite rock indie music, and then I do interviews and stuff in live performance. So I kind of understand. And we run it through Twitch, so I get the whole
nice.
OBS thing.
So basically, you do what we do, but on the other side.
But you guys do it so much better.
No.
So much better.
So is it on broadcast over the airwaves?
Yeah,
Just like the old
96.7.
times. That's awesome.
96.7 FM. And then we've been trying to figure out a way to turn it into podcasts so that people can go back and listen. Because
Yeah.
it kind of sucks when you have a really sick artist and it's just gone,
Right. And what's the station called?
Young Country.
Okay, but it's like a genreless station, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I had somebody else from that show here on a different, or sorry, they have a show on that.
Who?
Arviana, the personality.
Oh, you had Avriana?
Avriana, the
On
personality.
your
yeah.
podcast? That's
not
why.
on our podcast. We do. So I mentioned earlier we rent this room out for other podcasts. So one of my clients, they do a podcast called Born Rich, and the Born Rich podcast had her on.
Crazy.
And so while she was here, she was talking to me afterwards. She's like, "Oh, I have to get you on the show."
Crazy.
And you were like, me too.
Yeah.
That's wild. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I know she had mentioned Young Country, and kind of I
Small
heard a little
world.
bit of it back then. But have you met her, or you guys just have separate shows? Is there a studio you go to? Do you do it from your house? How does the radio work now?
Yeah, actually, I know all the girls really well because they just recently hired me to make content for them,
nice.
which I am so not equipped to do. I have no idea what I'm doing, but that's how I feel about producing music.
We won't tell him.
I have no idea what I'm doing in anything. In life, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so with Avriana, she worked at the station for a while, and then she left to go to iHeart. And then we were needing another host. So I told my boss, I was like, we should bring Avriana back. So technically I kind of helped get her rehired.
Nice.
So I do know her. And then the other girls there, I've just gotten to know over the years too. It's a fun little team. It's a
So
fun
how
crew.
did that come about?
My boss, or how did I get hired, or how did?
No, how did you start broadcasting on the radio?
Dude, I never meant to do that. I mean, seriously.
Whoops, broadcasting.
Yeah, I guess. But basically, my boss there has a record label too, and I submitted my song to be on their radio station because I just sent maybe like 3,000 emails to different radio stations when I first started releasing
gosh.
music.
Dang.
I was like grinding and like writing letters and stuff too. And they were one of the radio stations that I submitted my song to, and then my boss heard it and offered me a record deal for
Sick.
for that song. And then we went back and forth about it for 8 months, and then ultimately I decided not to sign it. But like at that point, I knew them super well, and we were like homies. Like I was hanging out at his ranch all the time. I'm pretty sure we had tripped shrooms together. Like we were tight. And so he was like, "Well, we're starting a radio station. Do you want to be a radio host?" And I was like, "I'm down." And so then I started my little radio show. The first person I interviewed was KSI. Talk about me not knowing anything in that interview. He's like a YouTube gamer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like,
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know KSI. He's absolutely massive.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like me, this
Didn't-
little musician.
Didn't he join all the MMA stuff with
Yeah.
like Logan Paul? Like him and Logan Paul had a fight,
Yeah,
right?
I interviewed him right before his
Oh,
fight.
right before the fight. Yeah, that was
So-
like a big thing back then.
Yes, it was crazy. So just, the world works out. Things work in very weird ways.
Yeah. Well, it's really crazy because I feel like from time to time I encounter somebody like yourself who has like had all of these like crazy things come together, like like that whole scenario.
Yeah, it's been like
where-
wild thing after wild thing.
Dude, I know.
And what I always think about is I'm like, there's somebody out there who's like, one day I'll be on the radio, and everyone in their life's like, shut up, Milo, you'll never be on the radio. You're a crazy dreamer. And meanwhile, you're like, I was tripping shrooms at this ranch, and he's like, want to be on the radio? And I was like, okay, cool. And there's somebody else who's just like, if only I could ever be on the radio, how will I? And like,
Well,
Take
but
my
the thing
job. They should have it.
well, but it's not just that you were at this ranch. It was all the decisions you made up to that point that
Yeah.
put you at that ranch
Totally.
for that opportunity, and they're not doing that shit.
they're not doing that shit.
But also, like, I do feel like there's something to be said about just, like, letting go of control and just, like, letting things play out the way they do. And it's really hard to do that, but, like, not taking things too seriously. Then, like, the things that you don't even know that you want you're making space for them to come into your life.
Yeah, just go with the wind.
You gotta just go with the wind, man.
Well-
So who are some of like your favorite people that you've interviewed for Yoko? It's
Ooh.
Yoko, right?
Yoko, yeah.
That's weird. John Lennon's wife's name, Yoko Ono.
Dude, so weird, right?
Have you thought about that?
Yes, I have.
Dang it. I thought I connected another dot in your life for you.
It is weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of like really sick up and coming bands. I think my favorite person to interview is probably Bonner Black because she's just really a fun hang, and we have good banter. And then on the show for a while, my band was coming in and we were doing this Digging Up the Dead was the name of our little show, and we would like dive into like musicians who had died and like their legacy and play their music, and then we would cover one of their songs at the end. So that was definitely like that was one of my favorite little sections. But it's hard to wrangle like an entire band of people to come to a radio show and show up on time and be there,
Sure.
Mhm.
Who'd you
I mean,
like?
it's hard
What
to get
artist
anyone.
did you do?
We like who did we cover?
Yeah.
We did Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, who else? What?
The 27
I
Club.
wanna
To be fair, I'm like,
dance
those
with
are like the
somebody.
two
Whitney
that I could
Houston.
definitely remember.
Whitney
Whitney
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, and like talk about like having to cover a Whitney Houston song. I felt like
Rough.
such a fraud. I was like,
Yeah,
what am
that's
I
rough.
doing? And then yeah, we did a lot of the 27 Club, mostly the 27 Club.
Now, when you did Kurt Cobain, so did you talked about them as well?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like, what did you learn anything interesting about him through that, or like, what are some like interesting details you remember?
About Kurt,
Yeah.
Or any of them.
K-Dog.
I was also like heavily into conspiracy theories at the time, and I know we're not supposed to say that Courtney killed him because it's like sexist for some reason, but like I do.
Yeah, but like
I really do think she did.
so?
I mean, come on.
I really do think
a lot of
so.
it's there.
Yeah, and like in his like note, like he doesn't say anything about killing himself in his like suicide note, which was more about them getting divorced. And then only in the last few lines it says that he was thinking of taking his own life, and that's written in a different handwriting that handwriting experts have figured out. I'm really not a conspiracy theorist, but like after this show, everyone's gonna think I am, and I'm kind of cool with
Look,
it.
after
Which
a
is just
certain
because
amount,
we're like,
oh yeah,
that's what
I
we
love
want.
conspiracy shit. I
Yeah.
love conspiracy, but
Do you?
oh yeah, I mean the thing is,
Do you have a doom box?
well, I don't have a doom box, but I have a go bag.
Go bag. That's more positive term.
Yeah, well,
Doombox or Go Bag,
Yeah.
same different name.
but I mean, after so many conspiracy theories have been like recently coming out and being like, no, that was true.
Yeah, it's
After a while,
wild.
you're like, all right, what else is true?
Yeah.
Did we go to the moon?
Did we? I don't know.
I do
There's
think we
no
went to the
wind
moon.
on the moon, man.
It's true, but there is an alien base on the moon. They have
Yeah.
pictures of it.
Yep. They live in the moon.
Yeah, the moon's hollow.
Hollow moon theory.
Exactly.
Do you remember? Now, we remember, is probably a little bit before your time, but there was this show called The Whitest Kids You Know. And it
I
was
don't
like
know
a
that.
Canadian sketch comedy show.
It's incredible.
And they had this really great episode called Moon Bears. Or it was a skit. It was an episode.
yeah, it's like a 2-minute skit.
2 minutes. But basically the like White House correspondent comes up and he's like, today at approximately 6:35 p.m. we received this transmission from the moon. We have discovered moon bears. The moon bears seem to be heavily armed. We're not sure what they want, but they have taken over our base. And he goes in this whole thing about the moon bears and what's happening on the moon. And then at some point a reporter raises their hand and they're like, did we invade Iraq today? And he's like, you got me. He's like, yeah. We knew it.
I can't fool you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, great sketches. Definitely look them up. They're old.
I
They're old,
will.
but
I need something funny and lighthearted.
they're not all lighthearted.
Yeah.
but it's dark though, right?
They're dark. They're dark.
That's my
right.
humor.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
dark things.
Yeah, I get the vibe you'd be into it.
Yes, I gotta watch it.
But yeah, if you love conspiracy, I got a perfect YouTube channel for you.
What is it?
The Y Files.
Oh, I
So-
will send it to my sister.
What he does is he goes through these, researches them heavily. His
Mm.
whole team goes through it as if he believes it. Like he's like, this is the argument for this conspiracy, and at the end he debunks what he can debunk.
Oh, cool.
Which is great, but sometimes at the end he like debunks it. And I'm like, you didn't debunk very much there, man. Like, there's not a lot of evidence that isn't true.
Crazy.
But it's really, really high production quality, really, really well done.
Okay, I'm gonna
Highly
check that.
recommend the one on Anunnaki.
Oh,
If you don't know about the Anunnaki,
of course I know about
of
that.
course you know. I should have expected nothing less. Of course you know
ever
about the
watch
Anunnaki.
Ancient Aliens?
I've seen clips, but I've heard that it's more science fiction. I want to know like what people can actually try to prove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably not a lot. But
Not a
it's
lot.
fun when you're high.
True, but no, it is an hour-long video on the Anunnaki, and it is incredible.
Yeah, those are like the aliens that like.
Yeah, that created humans. Like we were originally
Yes.
their slaves to mine gold for them, obviously.
To be honest, I fully believe that. Like I don't understand how humans like. I think that humans are not from this planet. Like maybe our home planet was Mars, and then we like did what we did to this planet with climate change to Mars and like blew it up, and then we had to find a new planet, and so here we are.
See,
Earth.
they think that we were a crossbreed, or this channel thinks that we were a crossbreed
With the
between the
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki and
Right.
Homo erectus, which was already here.
Right.
Which is why there was such a quick advancement in intelligence.
yes.
My favorite theory of aliens is that aliens are what we, like the Greys, are what we evolve into eventually, and that they're time travelers.
Yes!
Yeah, I could be into that too. I can be into
Dude,
that.
that was all I talked about when I was into conspiracy theories
Really?
on TikTok, and then I did that one COVID video and it went into the fucking documentary. But that's all I was talking about.
See, that's what I'm talking about. There's somebody out there who's like, if I could just make it into a Netflix special, please.
Not that way.
Probably not the best way.
Oh,
Except
no.
you were vindicated because now that
Yes.
everybody's like, well, it probably was a lab
Yeah,
leak.
everyone's like, absolutely, it was the lab in Wuhan.
Come on, man.
We're gonna go try to find this, and it's gonna be edited out.
Maybe. Honestly,
It's gonna be, they're gonna edit our show and take out us talking about it.
Or just blur your face. Who knows?
Yeah.
I need to go back and like see what I actually said because I might have said some. I feel like that's what I said, but it might have not been as like intelligent sounding. I might have sounded a little crazier.
Well, sure, but
It was a
also
crazy
like
time.
it was TikTok during COVID.
We were in a pandemic.
Yeah, and you're like fairly young, and you were younger. That's 4 years ago. You know,
Yeah, I
Like-
had just turned 21.
right? So yeah, I think you're fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, another thing we need to touch is your rock collection.
Wait,
So-
really? You have a rock collection?
Now, I don't know if you have a collection,
Crystals.
but I know that
Okay.
you're into rocks.
I love crystals. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So I thought
Crystals
that
are
was
not
ironic.
rocks.
because I make
They
rock
are
music.
minerals.
Well, okay. All right. Yeah, if you want to be that guy.
You sound like my grandma. She's a geologist.
And well,
She has a
bet I-
PhD in rocks.
then I'm glad I sound like her. That just proves that I'm right.
Well, so we had another guest, maybe a little over a year ago, named Sylvie, and she had a rock collection that she talked about.
Sick.
And so Jury's brought up several times with different guests, like how he loves that detail.
I love
Like-
the random things. Because, like, I know
Yeah.
you do music. I know you do music. I hear you sing. I'm like, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what's the weird shit that you do?
yeah,
That's what I wanna
A
know
lot
about.
of weird shit, man. I'm fucking weird.
And
But-
so anyway, then I found out you were into rocks, and I was like,
Crystals.
"Oh, Jury's gonna love this." Crystals, crystals.
Yes, I'm very. I was really hardcore into crystals, and now I'm just like mildly into crystals. But my boyfriend is like going through his big crystal phase right now.
As you must.
Yes.
Now, I always liked amethyst.
Yeah. Do you put it by your pillow at night?
Oh no, I don't go. I'm nowhere near that.
You should try it and see, because like it makes your. If you have like real amethyst, not like that like fake shit that they sell in crystal stores, like real amethyst, put it by your pillow at night. You'll have the fucking craziest dreams. And then report back to me.
Okay.
And then you'll start believing in crystals.
I don't dream at all. So,
What?
yeah, I don't ever. I like maybe once a year I'll wake up and be like, oh, I had a dream.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you
no.
smoke a lot?
No, I mean regularly, but not a lot.
'Cause
not
doesn't
crazy,
that
not
stop your
amounts. It
dreams?
can, but I had it long before that too.
Weird.
My whole life, it's always been that way. Yeah.
Huh.
Never remember my dreams.
But they say if you stop, they all of a sudden you have lots of.
That is what they
crazy
say.
dreams.
But I like to sleep, so I will keep. I'll keep on keeping on.
No, I've always liked amethyst. I think because it was like it's like August, right? It's your birthstone,
Is it your birthstone?
and so
You're an August Virgo.
August. So I was like, I think I saw that when I was a kid that it's the stone for my, or the crystal for my month, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and it's purple, and that's really unique for a rock
Yeah.
mineral.
Yeah, I got topaz. It's kind of an ugly stone. I'm not gonna lie. I don't
What
like.
color is topaz?
It's kind of like a golden brown, yellowy.
oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Meh. Look,
Yeah.
you're supposed to get. So when you get a class ring, you graduate high school and you buy a
Yeah.
class ring, which I wasn't gonna do, but my
No.
grandma insisted.
Really?
She's like, because she's old school. She's like, you have to get a class ring. But I wasn't gonna do it. It was like $400.
Yeah.
Anyway, she paid for it, so it was fine. But you're supposed to get your birthstone.
Oh.
But I refused. I was like, absolutely not, and I got an emerald instead.
Emeralds are sick.
yeah.
Which isn't that the ring you got for Corinne? Isn't it an emerald?
No, her wedding ring is a sapphire.
Sapphire. Okay.
Dude, I'm so into not getting diamonds like for wedding rings. I think it's so much more unique to have like a crazy stone.
Yeah, if sapphire is good enough for Princess Diana,
Are you kidding
it's
me?
good enough for my wife.
Sapphires are beautiful.
So what's the deal on sapphires?
what do they help with?
Yeah, or I
They're
don't know.
blue, right?
They're
Yeah.
blue. Yeah.
So that I would say that pertains to the throat chakra. So it helps with setting boundaries and communication and just like learning how to have those boundaries. Usually rocks that pertain to the throat chakra help with that.
There you go, Corinne.
And as a Cancer,
You wearing it
it's
right
hard-
now? How's it feel?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
Damn right it is.
But yeah, and Corinne's a Cancer too, and I would say as a Cancer woman, we often have a hard time with boundaries, and that's one of the things that we learn later in our life.
Yeah, it's weird. No one learns boundaries when they're a kid.
Mm-mm.
I feel like everybody that's something you don't learn until older.
Yeah.
Well, you do learn boundaries. You just don't learn how to set them you learn how to abide by them.
Hopefully
Yeah.
you would have parents that would teach you how to set boundaries, but that's usually not the case.
Yeah. Are those parents out there?
I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to teach.
I teach my cats boundaries.
Probably our generation will teach kids how to set boundaries.
My dog has no boundaries.
No.
I mean, I will say I was with some friends of ours yesterday for Memorial Day at the pool, and the pool was there. It was like an apartment building, so it was full of tons of just random strangers, and his kids both like to like play and meet. They love to meet. In fact, my buddy calls his son the mayor because he just likes to go meet people. He'll go meet adults
That's
and say
so
hi.
Cute.
Yeah, and he's only like 8. Yeah, he's 8. And so, but his, our buddy's wife, who's not their mom, she's like the stepmom, but she was talking to them and she's like, hey, you don't have to be their friend if you don't want to. You don't have to say hi to them if you don't want to. You can meet them if you want to, but you don't have to. If you don't want to talk to them or you don't feel comfortable with them, you can say no and you can walk away. You don't have to interact with them.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh yeah, that was a parent teaching a child how to set boundaries.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, that's pretty important for kids to learn that they can say no to adults because there are
Yes.
adults that take advantage of kids in all sorts
Yes.
of bad ways. So kids kind of do have to learn how to like say no, walk away,
Yes.
all sorts of things. So
It's so important.
so maybe our generation's going to get it right.
Yes.
Maybe. We'll
Maybe.
see. We'll see.
Yes. Well, millennials were raised by the baby boomers.
True.
It'd be hard to have baby boomer parents.
Yeah. Who are you raised by?
Gen X.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very different vibe.
Let's see. Baby boomers
Very different.
ended in 64,
Uh-huh.
right?
My parents were born in 71.
I don't know. When was my dad born? I have no idea.
Mm.
But I was really raised by my grandma anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Because she was,
really?
yeah, she was, because she
But
was
she'd
definitely
be
a
a
boomer.
boomer.
Yeah.
How old is your dad now?
Some amount of years.
If you had to guess, would it be like 57?
Not 60. I would guess middle 50s.
Oh, so
Okay.
you have a Gen X.
So yeah, he'd be
Yeah.
Gen X,
Yeah. Yeah.
but early on the early side.
Yeah, but I was mostly raised by my grandma. She was definitely, obviously,
Yeah.
older than that.
Yeah.
I got issues. I got beef with the baby boomers.
yeah.
I just don't like the baby
Let's go.
boomers. the beef.
I don't think that was the. Yeah.
I like the sound of it.
You are terminated.
Yeah.
Baby boomers. That's really loud.
Terminate the baby boomers.
Okay,
I
tell
just
us more.
genuinely think that like the world will be a better place when they're gone. And I'm sorry.
Wait,
You are terminated.
see, I just pressed it a little early.
Okay, let me ask a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Because, one, I do think you're probably right,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's unique to baby boomers.
No, it's just old people.
I think it's any
You're
any
right.
of the oldest generation.
You're right.
That generation needs to end so
Go.
that the newer generations can progress more.
Yeah, and I mean like they're like so into politics. They're so into it. They love fighting. And it's just like
They like the sides.
they love it. And I'm like, bro, like that's great. We have real issues, like the fact that there were 1,500 billionaires in 2020 and now there's 3,000 billionaires. Like our issues are that like in the past 4 years, all of our money and resources have gone to the billionaires and most people are living below the poverty line now. And you're worried about like what Joe Biden said about something stupid. Like who gives a shit about politics if no one's taking
My
care
dad,
of the people?
100%. He cares about what Joe Biden said
Yeah.
so much.
Dude, I know they all do. The baby boomers are so into politics, and they're so like they get so riled up about it, and it's like at the end of the day, whoever the president is low key just a puppet, anyways. So
Right, I don't do anything.
like, why does it matter? And like they're always just like you're choosing between two old men, and I mean like everything that they put in place during their presidency, they're never gonna see the repercussions of. And we have to. That's why I think there should be a cutoff voting age. You have to wait till you're 18, right, to vote, or is it 16?
Yep,
18. Yeah, 18.
You have to be 18 to vote, so you should like stop being able to vote whenever you become a senior citizen.
That would be interesting. I've never heard that idea before.
yeah.
Just thought of it now, but
Yeah, I kind of fuck
Cut
with
them off
that
at
idea.
70 or something. Come on,
Yeah.
65.
No, I kind of like that idea. I
I'm
kind
not
of like
opposed
that.
to that.
You age out on voting.
I also think we need a maximum age so that you can run for president. Because that's
Yeah.
I never thought that would be an
Yeah.
issue. It's an
no,
issue.
Yeah.
Because we have a minimum age,
we
35.
do.
Well, and I saw a whole video about this recently, and it goes along with your baby boomer hate. It was like a TED Talk, and this guy, and he might be Gen X, but he's a bit older, and he was just basically talking about how America is ruining things for the next generation, and he was like, my generation, when I graduated, I think he graduated 87, which I only remember because that's the year I was born, and so he was like, our generation, he's like, when I graduated, these were the opportunities I had. I could buy a house for this much money. I had these kind of opportunities. I was able to invest in these companies at this price, blah, 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 blah. And he was just showing how none of those things are true anymore. And Wesley, our normal producer, talks about it a lot, how like the age of the people who run the biggest companies is getting older and older. The age of the politicians is getting older and older. And it's like the baby boomers won't let go and let the next generation take hold.
Well,
They're
with modern
they're holding on to
technology and
power.
science, they can live so much longer as well and be like cognizant so much longer
Yeah.
that they can just hold on for like an extra 20 years. And if this was 200 years ago, that they'd all be dead.
Yeah. Seriously. That's interesting.
I did hear on a podcast last night a politician suggesting, there's a guy who was trying to run for president, and he but is not anymore. And he was saying that he thinks what he would do is, if he were president, is he would put to Congress to reduce or to create age limits, or sorry, term limits. But the way he would get it passed is by making everybody who voted on it grandfathered in. Like, this doesn't apply to you. This applies to the next generation.
Ooh, that is smart, because they'll never vote for that.
Because they're not going to vote for it for them. But if it's for the next generation, they're like, yeah, I see the merits of that.
Right.
And then they vote it. So they're willing to screw the next generation, which is fine because it's screwing it in the way we want.
Right, because in like
Right.
15 years, they're all going to be gone anyway.
Right. So as they die and get replaced, the next generation will be better.
I like that
That's
plan.
really, honestly, a good plan.
So, he had that idea for several things. Basically, to be also like insider trading stuff, or like Congress people being able to do stocks. Basically, like, oh, this doesn't apply to you, but the next anybody voted in after this, it applies to them.
That's a smart way to go about it.
So basically, they're all selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's the
yeah.
problem.
My dad is the biggest baby boomer hater. He is the smartest man I've ever met in my life. Doesn't hold grudges, doesn't have anger about anything, but for some reason he hates baby boomers. Hates them. And he just thinks they're selfish and stuff, which I should ask him why, honestly.
Maybe the things we're saying.
Yeah, it makes sense. But we should probably play another song.
Yes, sorry to transition from our baby boomer hate.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's what we do. we jump around. But what's the next song we're going to be hearing?
So, how about we play Cloud? I am about to release on June 22nd the deluxe version.
Shut up, timer.
I'm about to release a deluxe version of my album I'll Meet You on Dreams on June 22nd, and I rewrote Cloud, which is a song from my old record.
Was that I'll Meet You in Dreams?
Yeah, my old record was called Quantum Entanglement.
Okay.
And Cloud was originally from that record. I wrote it with a dude, and he sucks. And so I basically just wanted to write the true story about what actually happened, to let people know that he sucks, and I resent him because he'd been going around town throwing dirt on my name and telling people I'm crazy, and like, yeah, bro, I am a little bit crazy, but like, I'm not as crazy as he makes me sound. And so I rewrote the lyrics to, hopefully people can understand the real story about what actually happened. And I'm putting it on the deluxe album. I'm not bitter.
How could I describe Would you help me understand it? Please don't go away. Please tell me the truth. If you felt the storm, would it scare you? Why do I feel like I'm a cloud? Casting shadows, wishing I was something else. I cut off my hair when I cut you off. And then you really love to talk, 'cause I heard through a friend all the shit you made up. But I stayed quiet. I wish I told them all. You made me feel just like a cloud. All your rain just brought me down. When you spoke, thunder shook the ground. And I hope you never see the sun. And you think what you've done. All the sleepless nights, words that you disguise as love songs all the while. You hated how I shine. You tried to steal my light. You held the night. And now I've turned into the sun. I've planted flowers that you'll never get to touch.
You talked about self-recording your music.
Yes.
And one way I thought about starting this show, but then when I found out about the murder, that was way more interesting. But one thought I was going to do is like, all right, so I'm a producer engineer. I got you down in the basement. I'm confronting you. How dare you record your own music as an artist? But tell
You're
me.
taking the food out of all these starving producers.
Yeah.
No, I'm just broke.
Yeah.
I'm just a girl.
So I'm just a ghoul. So tell me, artist, how dare you record yourself? No, just kidding. So okay, so how did you start recording yourself, and what does that look like? Like, did you brought? By the way, you brought us a vinyl tonight, which was so
Yeah.
cool.
Which is awesome.
So thank you so much. What did you record that yourself, or you used to record yourself and now you don't, or how does that work?
Yeah, I produced this whole album. I played most of the instruments, did not attempt drums. I do play drums, but not in a and honestly, I do think I could play drums in a recording. I just don't possess, like, I don't have the equipment I need to record drums in a way that I would be happy with how it
A lot of
sounds.
mics.
Yeah, and at that point, like, I would rather just spend money on paying an actual drummer, you know?
Fair enough.
So Tom, my buddy, played most of the drums that you hear, and then Sawyer played drums on 2 of the songs as well. But then, yeah,
And did you guys go to a studio to do that, or do they have like their own home setups and they recorded it?
There's a problem. A technical difficulty?
It is. Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
It's recording. Are you still hearing us? There you go.
Hello.
Okay. Switch to our camera, because that'll make a clean cut for me. And then we were just talking about the. Okay, so I'll pick it up at. So did they record drums at their home studio, or did you guys go somewhere to cut the drums?
Yeah, Tom recorded drums. He has a little setup in his basement, and he's like really talented, not only at drums but just everything. Like, he has such a good ear, and I'm just slowly starting to realize just how talented he is. The more I get to know him, he made this entire like Viking song as a joke, and
Wait.
it's like a Viking hymn. And
All
it's, I mean, he's the funniest person I've ever met in my life, to be quite honest. But like, it's like this joke song, but it's like higher quality than half the shit on the radio. And I'm like, dude, you gotta release the Viking song, man. Like, it's so good. But anyways, he recorded his drums on his own. Then I did everything else in my it was my bedroom.
Wow.
I moved now.
So you send them a demo, and he did his drums, and then he sends it back to you, and then you kind of tracked on top of it.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what did you like play on the songs? Because you said like most of the instruments.
Yeah, so I played bass. There's one song that I have upright bass on that my buddy Jeff played upright bass on, and then there's one song where my buddy Sean Swanson played bass on. But I played bass on all the other songs. I'd never played bass before, so I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it was fun.
It's close enough to guitar.
It's pretty similar. I feel like the key with bass, playing it as a guitar player, is not like overcomplicating it and just like making it simple enough where it's like you don't only hear the bass line in the song.
Unless that's the point.
Right.
Right.
And so, yeah, I played bass. I played piano. I recorded a lot of the piano parts on my like very out of tune headboard piano. That was the headboard of my bed.
Yeah.
A nightmare for mixing, but I recorded piano on that. Then I discovered MIDI, and it opened up just like a whole new world.
I can
to
do
me.
it all.
And I was like, oh shit, I don't have to use my out of tune piano. I can actually just like play it on my little MIDI keyboard and come up with sounds for it. So then you can kind of tell on the album where I discovered MIDI. It's funny because like the side B, like the last songs on the record are the ones where I hadn't discovered MIDI yet. So it's like the first 5 songs you can hear like different synths and
what
stuff.
MIDI did you like to use?
Are
you in Logic or Pro Tools or?
I'm just in Logic.
Okay.
So I was using a lot of just like the Logic sounds.
Sure, yeah.
And
I think a lot of people do that.
yeah, it was like it's very basic, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I learned a lot throughout the process because I really don't know what I'm doing. But I was hesitant to release it at first because I was like, I don't know, I feel like it could sound so much better if I had a professional do it, but I think it's cool to like one day be able to look back on this period of my life as I continue to produce my music and look back and just be like, wow, like look at the evolution of how my sound has progressed and how much better I've gotten. This is the first one, so it's not the best, but that's how I kind of justified releasing it.
Yeah. Now, did you mix it yourself?
No, so I was kind of like toying between like, should I mix this myself? And I started like mixing a couple of the songs, and then I was like, honestly, I feel like I should have Aaron do the mixing. Aaron's in San Francisco. He's like the most literally the most talented producer I think I've ever met in my life.
What's his last name?
Helm?
Helm. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. I haven't heard of him, but Aaron
Dude.
Helm.
He's amazing. He's like not anywhere to be found online. So just like
Wow.
he's
a
like
ghost.
yeah. I literally don't think I would know him if I hadn't worked with him when I was like 13 years old. Like he's started producing my first music for me when I was a kid. So he did the mixing and the mastering on that. And he did just like such a phenomenal job. Really took it to like a level where I was comfortable with like releasing it.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I've listened to some of it, and it sounds really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think a lot of artists out there, like, learning how to record yourself is, I think, a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think it is the better move for most people probably to have somebody who just mix it.
Right.
Like, because mixing is the thing that takes the longest time to learn.
Yes.
And like,
and you your ears, like you have to like develop,
it's developing your ear, but it's also like learning all these technologies and all these, you have to learn all these technical things, but then apply it to art.
Right.
And you'll spend like years where you're just like thinking in a science way, and and then you eventually realize like, that was all wrong. I only have to think of it through an art way, but you know the science, and it's such a long process.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I think for most people, I would totally recommend like, yeah, if you can record your stuff, if you can learn how to record, I think that's great. And then sending it to be mixed.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 10-year plus learning curve to figure out how to mix all that stuff. And it's like, if you can figure out how to, get the funds to have somebody else mix it, you can just shortcut. Unless you want to learn how to be a mixer, and then that's great,
Right.
but it's just going to be a minute.
Yeah, and I think that like it's it cuts costs a lot to just be paying for mixing and mastering. So that's kind of what drew me in. But also, I don't know, I was really loving the learning process, and I love still like with every song I did do my own mix, because I still want to be learning how to do that in the
As
background.
you go, sure.
But I don't want people to hear my mix, because next to Aaron's mix, like his is just 10 times better, because he's been doing this for so long. And also I feel like with the mixing and mastering element, like that's something you should do maybe in a studio that's like at least a little bit treated, not like a bedroom.
Right. There is also something to somebody else working on your music that isn't you.
Yeah, 100%. Getting another pair of ears on it.
I recently mixed for a friend of mine who like he did all his own recording at home, and unfortunately he also like tuned his own vocals. And and here's the problem: he's really hard on himself, because we're all like hard on ourselves.
Right.
And so he overtuned his vocals.
Right.
Like I can hear the tuning artifacts. That's just a level of like, it takes a long time to get really good at doing that in a transparent way.
Yeah.
But B, I think his voice is good. But almost nobody feels like their own voice is good. I mean, obviously some people do, but a lot of people sing well, but feel bad they can hear their own imperfections and feel bad about them. You usually feel that way about yourself. And so I think for his project, it'd be way better to have them either untuned or only very lightly little bits here and there, but they're very tuned, because he's looking at himself in the mirror and seeing all the imperfections.
Right.
And so to me, that's one of the big benefits of having somebody else on your project, is somebody that when you sing the vocal and your voice cracks and you're like, oh, that was a mistake, I didn't mean to do that, they go, no. That
Sick.
showed emotion.
Right.
I loved that moment. I felt something when you did that. And to have that. But anyway.
I agree.
And so same thing I think applies to mixing, that to have somebody looking at it and who will go, no, this song needs to feel very naked, like just your voice, and the music needs to be very background. And you're like, but that's not my best performance. And they're like, no, you don't know yourself, Chelsea. This song, your voice sounds awesome here. And it isn't perfect, but that's what's great about it. And that kind of perspective is so awesome. I
completely agree. And I just think it's good to have another pair of ears on anything you're doing, It also helps with like my confidence level too, because I don't know, I feel like I doubt myself a lot, as musicians do. And so to have, someone else involved to have to take the fall if it's terrible too. It's kind of nice. But like, I agree with the like whole vocal tuning thing. And I don't know, I was always like the weird kid that like loved the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe it's my Leo moon.
Maybe there's something wrong with everybody else.
So I never like really had difficulties with that. And even like now, like when I'm doing my own like music and stuff, like I really I want to use I don't like my vocals being tuned. Obviously, I'm sure Aaron put some tuning on it.
Maybe you'll have to ask him.
A little bit. I can tell because I can tell where he did. But like I told him like please tune it as like minimum as you can because I think that the ear like when we listen to music, we're more drawn to the more imperfect sounding. At least myself, I'm more drawn to like the imperfections of music because that's where you get the real human emotions and that's where you get the human connection that music gives us. And then like, with like all of like that, I think that's why I don't feel super deeply connected to like crazy pop music or like EDM because there's not like it's so perfect. It's so just like every element is so perfect about it, and I think that's why I like rock music more because it has those imperfections still, and there's still like real instruments.
Yeah, 100%.
I would argue for that so hard with you, but we're a little out of time. But I am 100% on board with that. It bothers me so much if I go see like a band live and it's like mostly not live.
Yeah, and it's all tracks.
I'm not opposed to tracks in general, but like when it's so much and I'm like, what are you even doing? Like you're just hitting play.
Yeah, and there is an art to performing. Performing in itself is an art, and if tracks are going to help you be a better performer, that's great. But I'm very opposed to using tracks myself.
I love that.
Yeah, the Gen Z kids are all right. I thought it might transition.
Now, we do have one question that we ask every guest.
Oh, I'm scared. Why does it sound like there's a shark chasing me?
I don't know.
Because John Williams wrote an incredible score that stuck with all of us forever.
Now, if you had to choose.
Okay.
And you do.
And you do. Now, the important thing to note about this question is the answer must not come from here.
Okay.
Yeah, for everybody who's only listening, he is pointing to his head, and this is a good time for me to point out that you can watch the podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
The answer must come from here.
Okay.
The heart.
You want me to just go with my gut, my first instinct?
Yeah.
Wow, normally I stop it a second time to clarify, but now I don't get to do that. I don't know how to do it.
You might as well.
I might as well do it anyways. If you had to choose.
And you do.
And you do.
What?
Now, what that actually means coming from your heart and not your head is that I need an answer quickly.
Immediately.
This is like psychological, like...
warfare.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think about it.
Okay.
I want the answer that's already in the depths of your
I'm not
soul.
thinking.
The answer that you're okay with being in the social dilemma if they steal this clip, which apparently they have rights to everything.
Yes.
If you had to choose.
And you do.
And you do.
And
You got my heart
you
rate
do.
up a little bit.
What would you say is your favorite kind of turtle?
Oh, definitely a sea turtle.
Sea turtle it is. And it was nice and quick. I love that.
That was very quick.
We have so many delayers.
It's
so
an
many
easy question.
Yeah.
Can't
wow.
go wrong with turtles.
Man.
I'm going to go be with the sea turtles tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. You're going to Hawaii tomorrow. So you're going to swim with them.
Yeah.
That was the coolest. But we went to Hawaii a few years back and
we swam with
swam
the sea turtles.
It was incredible.
And then-
Love it.
Yeah, and I've shared it on the show before, but it's been a minute. But we found a sea turtle, and I started swimming after him, and he went down into the reef, and I swam with him, and I'm like, he's leading me, and I swam with him into the reef. Well, little did I know, and actually I did know, but I forgot at that moment that where we were swimming was called Shark Reef, not
Shark's
Turtle Reef.
Cove.
Shark's Cove. I swam with the turtle in the reef, and he led me, and then ditched where I was with a shark.
You kidding?
Yeah.
Dude.
The turtle worked for the sharks for sure and
I
was paid to
guess.
bring fresh meat. And so it's just me and the shark. But there was a school of fish circling around the shark. And I was like, they're much easier meals than me.
Yeah.
If he's not eating them, he's not hungry right now.
Well, they're probably
Oh.
like family fish or whatever. There's a name for it, but they're fish that actually
also work for the shark.
Yeah, they literally do. They will eat like barnacles and things that grow on the shark.
Wow.
Like they live off the shark.
Oh, wow.
And
In exchange
the
for
shark
protection,
doesn't eat them.
He's like
Yeah.
a mobster.
It's like it's a
Crazy.
whole nature thing.
So I was there. I just sat there maybe 6 feet away from the shark for, I don't know how long it was times different underwater.
I mean,
but,
that wasn't like
you
a
know,
great white.
No,
like, yeah,
it was a reef shark.
Yeah,
But I spent a good,
but it's still a shark.
and I think he was like 5 or 6 feet long in my memory. And I was there with him for a few minutes, and then I eventually swam away.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's my sea
Wild.
turtle story.
So sea turtles, I take it, aren't your favorite turtle.
I've never thought
Not
of it
after
that way.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
I
after
should
the
hate them.
betrayal.
The betrayal of the sea
Totally.
turtle. Wow, that's a good episode name title, actually.
Trail of the sea turtle.
But no, yeah.
I do like the titles when they have to wait to the very end to understand what the heck we're
Yeah.
talking about.
But anyway,
Well, no, I need to know your favorite turtles.
oh yeah.
We can't leave without me knowing.
No one's ever asked
my,
that.
my deepest, darkest secret now.
You know what? We have asked this to so many people.
At least
Not
70.
one time has anybody asked us.
Okay, that's just rude. How?
All
Could,
right.
Well, first of all, how could the curiosity not kill them?
Press that button. Press the
Unfortunate-
white button.
I'm going to ask you a question now.
Okay.
You have to answer with your heart
Okay.
and not your head. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't mean to press that one. What's your favorite sea turtle?
See, you mean
Only sea
specifically sea turtle?
I'm gonna go with.
Fuck!
I'm gonna go.
This is why I don't have a podcast, guys.
I'm gonna go with Costa Rican sea
no,
turtle.
what's your favorite turtle?
Honestly, box turtle. I know it's like the most basic bits
Don't they
answer.
snap?
Wow.
No, that's snapping turtle.
They box.
That seems like it should be intuitive.
Yeah. A box turtle is probably the most common answer, and it is super basic.
Why?
Because
Why
I
are
had
they-
4 when I was a kid,
Oh, you did?
and they were named after the 4 Ninja Turtles.
That's
And then
pretty sick.
little, slowly but surely, they all died. But not naturally,
No,
because
of course
turtles
not.
live for like 80 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all like ran over by cars. One of them got sat on. Like, it was a problem.
Oh my god.
But I had
You
4.
got turtle trauma. Is that
Yeah.
why you asked that question?
Turtle trauma.
I've never really delved deep into that to figure out why we asked that question, but maybe
Bruh,
that's why.
In your past life, you were a turtle.
Shit.
I'm actually gonna roll with Donatello.
Whoa, I don't even know what that is.
That's one of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Get
Oh.
it together. Do you not have a favorite Ninja Turtle?
You're right. I was honestly Ninja Turtles was a little before me. I think.
Ninja
It's
Turtles
true.
are
and
for
it's after
everybody.
you also. So
Yeah.
they
That's
are
true.
forever.
Yeah, they're doing new stuff now.
Are they?
Yeah.
I dressed
They're
up
always
as one
doing
for
some.
Halloween.
Really?
Once.
Oh,
Do
which
you
one?
remember which color?
Red.
Raphael.
Yeah.
Raphael.
They were
Yeah.
all named after Renaissance painters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, and who am I forgetting?
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Ninja Turtles are actually pretty high class.
Eh, maybe get on board. But before we get out of here, where can all the people find you?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you want
Come
to show
on
up at my
down.
door, I can give you my address. No, but I'm online on Instagram at King Chelsea with no vowels, just KINGCHLSY, and then Spotify Chelsea King, everywhere Chelsea King, man. But if you look it up, you gotta add a little sideways smiley face, otherwise you'll just get a murderer.
But anyways, guys, as always, thanks for coming to hang out. You guys are awesome, and we'll see y'all next time.
Speeding up on the interstate, I would turn around, but it's far too late.